What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. Now, a real recent interview from Avengers Endgame and Infinity War directors Joe and Anthony Russo garnered a ton of attention, especially in the last 2 days, and a lot more than one would have thought, considering this wasn't the first time the pair openly discussed their desire to adapt Secret Wars for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the uproar was real. Tons of headlines generated, again, just in the last 24 hours, and even spawning a ton of concept art from the ubiquitous and talented BOSSLOGIC. We're going to break down exactly what they both had to say in this very candid interview, draw the parallel between what made this story original in the first place and why they feel so drawn to it, talk specifically about which characters still need to be introduced to form which teams before you can have a successful Secret Wars, and of course the major change to one major character said to lead the MCU in the upcoming Marvel Phase 4 and 5. Like I said, we're going to break it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel related stuff, including this insane XM Studios 1/4 scale beta ray bill and our 3rd Infinity Saga limited edition box set. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So moments ago, and as I mentioned in the prologue, this is not the first time the Russos have mentioned in an interview that Secret Wars is one of the stories that they'd like to adapt. And in fact, the first time they brought it up, way back when, they brought it up alongside maybe coming back to direct something like the Wolverine in the MCU. Now, while we can sort of dream at them directing either or, this isn't the first time we've heard about Avengers Secret Wars either. And in fact, in a leak we reported on here at the channel almost a year ago, August 12th, 2019, this has been talked about before as the possible main crossover event. Now, perhaps this is why people got so excited when just this past weekend, Joe and Anthony Russo were completely open about the fact that they'd love to come back and adapt this, and in an original interview with the Bro Bible, as re-reported by IGN, they had to say this of Secret Wars and their involvement, quote, "It was one of the first major books to do that. That was really event storytelling to me at its finest," he said, quote, "and what happens when you put all of those personalities together? I also like the idea of villains having to team up with the heroes, Anthony, and I like the complicated relationships between heroes and villains. We like villains who believe they're heroes in their own stories, and it's all sort of built into the notion of Secret Wars. To execute something on the scale of Infinity War was directly related to the dream of Secret Wars, which is even larger in scale." IGN goes on to report that Anthony backed up his brother's comments as he confirmed that he would be up for the challenge of a Secret Wars adaptation, saying it would be the biggest movie you could possibly imagine. So that's what really excites us about the story. The ambition of it is even bigger than the ambition of the Infinity Saga, and when put that way and through the context of what we've already discussed in this video, you can see why people get so excited, not only acknowledging just how big this undertaking would be, but acknowledging that they did Infinity War and Endgame with the dream of Secret Wars in mind. And of course, now with the success of Endgame and Infinity War being able to put the cherry on top of the Infinity Saga, you have to think that if they wanted to sign up for something like this and Marvel Studios was all in on doing this project, that they would be first in line to take the job. Now, there are 2 separate Secret Wars stories, and of course, considering their age and which book they're talking about, they're referring to the original Secret Wars released back in the May of 1984, not the more updated version that came later in 2015. And while the stories are very different, they both revolve around the idea of battle world and a ton of heroes and villains realigning with each other to square off. Now, the most recent version sort of paired the 616 in the Ultimates universe, also known for the most insane version of Dune, but considering we know which book they're talking about, the original 1984 run, there are 2 huge takeaways to keep in mind. Again, knowing that's the book where they'll draw their inspiration. And of course, quick side note, Marvel Studios always changes anything and everything. They could conflate the 2, but again, we're talking about the book that the Russos read and inspired them. The first of which is just how far off of Secret Wars we are. The main characters, as listed literally by the Wikipedia for Marvel, include no less than the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man, Hulk, Doctor Doom, Magneto, and the Beyonder. Now, I don't even know where to begin with that, but we are literally 2 out of 3 major Marvel teams short, and although we have Spider-Man and the Hulk, we are far way off Doctor Doom and Magneto and even the Beyonder. There is a ton of groundwork to be laid by introducing characters slowly in the way that Marvel does, and then taking their time building the teams first before these teams realigning with the villains they've been fighting against the whole time will even hold any meaning. In that original video, again, that's almost a year old, where we covered this huge leak saying that Secret Wars was coming up, it was implied that they would be leading to this over Marvel Phase 4, 5, and 6. And if you consider that first slate we saw in 2019, which, quick side note, may be the last slate we ever see, was a 3-year project for just the first phase, we are easily a decade off this. Now, could the Russos come back along the way and pick up with a main character like Wolverine, do it the way they did with Captain America, and direct some movies leading into that? Of course they could. And when you put it like that, it sort of seems like that's something they would do. But that doesn't speed up the timeline at all for Marvel Studios, making us care about these characters and taking their time aligning these teams so that it is poignant and impactful when we see these teams break, sort of like what happened with Civil War. Again, a film directed by the Russos. Man, this is really all starting to add up. And not to mention the fact that if you go ahead and give us God Emperor Doom, which the newest run, the 2015 Battle World Secret Wars, is most known for, well, then that's the most sadistic and crazy version of him. I mean, how can you give us that if you haven't built out Doctor Doom? The main point being, we are a long way off the Russos ever coming back to do something like this, and a lot of groundwork still needs to be laid. Now, the second huge takeaway, considering that's the book they draw their inspiration, is just what to do about a certain Peter Parker and that symbiote suit, considering there's already a symbiote in Sony's Venomverse, which we know at least is set in the Morbiusverse, which has crossed over into the MCU, with the noting of Vulture inside that trailer. Now, what to do about all of this? Indeed, if they don't play it right, then introducing the symbiote onto Peter Parker sort of ruins how the story happens. And of course, we're sort of stepping in it, pun totally intended already, because it's supposed to go to Peter Parker first and be rejected with the help of Reed Richards before it bonds to Eddie Brock, leading to Eddie Brock's accession with Peter Parker in the first place. Now, regardless of how they're going to choose to work it out, and I guess it can go to Eddie Brock first, especially if Tom Holland ends up showing up there, that's how he can contract it instead of going to space in the first place. Even though he's already been there in Infinity War, they literally gave him the backstory he needed. Either way, that cover is one of the most iconic covers of all time. You have to think, with Marvel finally having a chance to do good on some of these original comic panels and covers that made our hearts stop in the first place, and an opportunity they've never had before with the reuniting of all their rights, if they're truly drawing inspiration from this original Secret Wars run, that we've got to see the symbiote bond with Peter Parker at some point in some way, regardless of how they change the story, just because of how iconic that imagery has become from some of the older ages of Marvel. Either way, if the Russos are talking about it openly and this excited, and Marvel Studios even is half in on this, I think there's a good chance this is an actuality, that we'll be working towards this in the MCU very slowly, and on the horizon there may be something even bigger than Avengers Endgame for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, including, could you imagine anyone else picking up Secret Wars than the Russos? And you have to agree with me, if Marvel Studios is going to do it, and they want the job, they're going to get it. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at the 700,000 subscriber mark. A lot of you have asked. Of course, we'll switch over to the PlayStation 5, but with delays in technology this year, sort of the way that shippings have been going and the limits in pre-order, we won't give them away till we have them in hand. So in lieu of that, we still have the PlayStation 4 Pro. All you have to do to be entered to win, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and that'll automatically enter you to win all the rest of the prizes here at the channel, like this insane XM Studios 1/4 scale Beta Ray Bill and almost a full 3 feet tall, 30 inches. This is an immaculately sculpted museum quality statue, limited in edition from XM Studios. We're giving that away, as well as the 3rd Infinity Saga limited edition box set. And if you're not familiar with these guys, they were limited to 4,000 in pre-order, and after they sold out, they absolutely shot up in value on the secondary market. We've gotten our hands on the 3rd and final one here at the channel, which we will give away during the holiday season. If you want to be entered to win the Beta Ray Bill, the Infinity Saga box set, or either of the PlayStations, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, leave a like and a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, just like we're doing here, and if you've missed any of those previous winner announcements, no worries. All you have to do is scroll back through the channel, look for the winner announcement in the sub count in the title, click on that video and scroll to the end. My name is Michael Roman, this is Everything Always. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the channel and stick around, we'll be posting again real soon.